All right, welcome to the 100 Million Possibilities seminar, webinar. I know that you might have some question about why I decided to call it this way. Actually, I could have called it the Infinite Possibilities seminar, but what is infinite? No beginning, no end. And it's very difficult to define, so I decided to have a number, which this number has a signification for me. So 100 Million Possibilities seminar is about growth. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. It's about seeing the possibility. And this is what we're going to talk about today. I am a proud member of the Proctor Gallagher family, Proctor Gallagher Institute, which we specialize into growth and personal life and corporation growth. And I want to welcome you into this seminar, the 100 Million Possibilities seminar, with results that stick. And you might have results in your life and it might have come and go. And what we want is we want to make sure that we have result that's going to stay in your life, and you're not going to have like this up and down and let your result dictate how you feel. So this Proctor Gallagher Institute have been created by Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher. Bob Proctor have been doing this for 55 years, believe it or not. Now, if you think about it, doing something for 55 years, most of you were not even born when he started working into that industry, and yet is still going at it, 82 years old and going strong. Actually, Bob, when he started, didn't have education, was earning $4,000 a year, and his whole life was a mess. And when he encountered this material, his entire life changed. And he went from earning $4,000 to earning millions of dollars per year in a span of about 3 years, which is pretty impressive if you think about it. But he didn't have any education. He didn't have, had about a couple years of high school, a couple months of high school, didn't have any business experience, and yet he became a very, very affluent person, actually one of the top 5 people that every time that you talk about growth and personal development, Bob Proctor is always on the top 5 in that list worldwide. So he's that's quite an accomplishment. On the other side, Sandy Gallagher is totally the opposite. She went to all the best school, all the best university, has a doctorate into, I think, in law and institutional, sorry, I cannot say that word, but and then was involved into practice in Wall Street, did hundreds of billions of dollars, and you might think that I'm mistaken now, but I'm not. Hundreds of billions of dollars in transaction, because she was acquiring banks, merging banks, selling banks. That was her specialties. And actually, she got the highest distinction as a bank lawyer in the United States when she got out of school. But when she heard what Bob was talking, because one day she was into a seminar from Bob Proctor, and she never heard about that material, and she was like, well, I need to teach this. I need to share this with the corporate world where I'm coming from. And this is where that she made her mind that she's going to be in Bob Proctor's inner circle. And guess what? Now she is the CEO of Proctor Gallagher Institute and making our company grow tremendously every single year. So what we figured out over the past 55 years, or what Bob figured out over the past 55 years, is there's 3 common things that people want in their lifestyle. First of all, they want to be free of any financial concern. Who agrees with that? I guess everybody agree with that, right? So you don't want to think about how I'm going to pay my rent, how I'm going to pay my car, where do I get the money to be going on vacation, or buy this suit, or buy this pair of jeans, or like buy this game, whatever. You don't want to think about money on that matter. Second, what we figured out is everybody wants to wake up every morning enthused about how they're going to spend their day, right? You want to feel that this day is going to be the best day of your life. And third, what we discover is people want to enjoy daily relationship with other men and women who are upbeat, who are enthusiastic, who are creative, who wants to make a change. I hope you relate to this because that makes me extremely enthused every time I read those three things. Because everybody wants freedom, but I want to share something with you. You can create your own economy. You don't need to be concerned about what the economy is. You don't need to be scared that there's a recession or that this country is going to war, all those things. You don't need to think about those things because you can create your own economy. As I mentioned, everybody wants freedom. They want freedom of two things. They want freedom of time and they want freedom of money. But you will be absolutely amazed how much time you have when you stop thinking about money. I mean, this is absolutely amazing. When you stop thinking about money, you've got all the time in the world. And then all of a sudden, like, you can think about what am I going to do with my time? And that is a beautiful place to be. So, how does result happen? How do you get result? Is result just happening? Is result just come and you just like, whoa, that's a result? No. And that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how result come into your life. So in order for you to have a business which is successful or life which is successful, let's look at how results happen. So there's two things that we must know. First of all, where we are, right? Which we're here, and where we were gonna go. And this is so simple. Actually, this is so childish. Just I didn't listen to this seminar like that. You are teaching me something I already know. I know you know that. And actually, as a matter of fact, I found this so obvious that I'm wondering why is people stuck if this is so simple. This is where I am. This is where I want to go. So why are you stuck? That doesn't make sense because what I thought is the only thing I need to know where my goal is. And when I know where my goal is, then I'm fine, right? But this is not where the problem sits. The problem sits here. It sits where you are right now. And it's called paradigm. Have you heard of that word paradigm before? Now, paradigm sounds like a parasite or something. Actually, it's not too far from it. Now, there's good, there's bad paradigms, and we're going to look into it. Paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over your habitual behavior. And guess what? Almost all of your behavior is habitual. Everything you do in a day is habitual. As a matter of fact, 95% of what you do is the same thing that you did yesterday. You're repeating the same thing over and over and over again. And then people are wondering, why am I having always the same thing happening in my life? Because you're a creature of habit. And until the time you don't understand how your beautiful mind works, it's always going to happen that way. So let's look a little bit at what paradigms are, right? Paradigm is a multitude of habits, which, this is the funny part, it's not even your habits. It's other people's habits, which are passed from generation to generation to generation. Sometimes you need to go like 6, 7, 8 generations down the road to figure it out why you're doing things the way you're doing it. And then you're wondering like, wow, why am I doing this? Because you've been programmed that way. So sometimes, and you don't have to feel bad, that's other people habits, but now that you're conscious about it, you need to know that they become your responsibility. So we need to know how to change those habits. Making a decision is also a habit. And there's a lot of people that have a lot of difficulties to make decisions, but we're going to get back to that later on. Okay? Financial success has a lot to do with being in the right place at the right time. Have you heard of that before? You probably did, right? But wait a second. Do you know that you're always at the right place at the right time? You're never at the wrong place. Everything that you needed to learn was necessary to bring you where you are right now. So why are you getting the results that you are getting? Number one. And number two, what is missing? Because there's something missing. I don't know if you're thinking about it. But what's missing? It's called awareness. When you have awareness, you're going to be able to see the possibility in your life. And there's 100 million of them. There's so many possibilities in your life that you will be shocked. Because it's all about awareness. And this is what we're going to look into right now. We're going to look at what awareness is all about. Your ability to enjoy the good life is depending on your level of awareness. So let's look at what awareness is. So I want you to focus right now on that yellow dot. Then you're just like, whoa, do you see a yellow dot? Oh yeah, if you like move a little bit, you're gonna see the yellow dot. That yellow dot represents your level of awareness right now, right? Which is not very high. So let's see, like, if we expand our level of awareness, what's gonna happen is we're gonna start eliminating the darkness and start walking towards the light, right? It's when you turn the light on. So the awareness keeps increasing, and then a person doesn't earn $100,000 a year because they want to earn $100,000 a year. A person earns $100,000 a year because they don't know how to earn $100,000 a month. And you might think about, like, is people earning $100,000 a month? Absolutely. There is people. Because they are aware that it's possible. There's a possibility there. And I want you to open your mind to the possibility of being able to earn $100,000 a month. So what you're going to think is, okay, so how do I expand my level of awareness? Well, that comes with a very, very, that's a very good question. This is what we're going to look into right now. First, you need to have effective education. Like the important word there is effective. And I'll get back to that in a moment. Combined with professional coaching over a reasonable amount of time. You need to be patient. You're not going to go from a mass consciousness awareness to mastery from one day to the other. It's not going to happen. So you've got to be aware that it's going to take a little bit of time. And then you will be able to expand your awareness and improve the quality of your life. Have you heard that the sad part is, like, it's very sad to see a child being scared of the darkness, right? But what's worse is to see an adult be scared of the light. And right now, that's maybe where you are, because you don't know, you don't know about the light, and you've been living in darkness all that time, and you might be scared. It's like, yeah, but if I change, what's going to happen? Well, I can tell you it's going to be beautiful. But you might pass through some fear and something like that. Because everything that you're seeking is seeking you. And that's the beauty about awareness. When you are starting to utilize the law of cause and effect, what you're seeking is seeking you in return. That's where attraction is all about. And that's what awareness is. When you continue expanding your awareness, just beauty is going to come into your life. Now you might look into this and then you're just thinking, wow, this is a mess, man. How are you seeing that? I mean, this is just chaos. It might look like it, but let's go back to the original question. I want you to focus on the yellow dot. And the yellow dot is your awareness. And when you can focus and you can see just the yellow dot, you won't see the chaos, because that represents your life, which is chaos. You know, there's noise, there's sound, there's people screaming, there's things moving, there's people touching you. There's a lot of different things that's happening. So you need to have the ability to focus and have your mind calm and being able to see and be aware. And when you're that, the only thing you're going to see is the yellow dot, right? So let's look a little bit in details of what is the 7 level of awareness. Number 1 is the animalistic level, which is where all our animals are, right? It's fight or flight. It is like you are prepared to defend yourself, like you're looking for shelter, you're looking to eat, and you're looking to be warm. That's the animalistic level of awareness. Basically, it's your survival awareness. Everybody's there. Some people will never move from there. They're going to stay there pretty much all their life, right? Second level is mass consciousness. Definitely the entire population is there. They're following the mass. They do what other people tell them to do. They're following what other people are doing. And I like what Earl Nightingale says. It's like if you follow, if there's a crowd there and everybody goes on one direction, there's 1 or 2 are going on the other direction, and you're not going to think, follow the 1 or 2 and you will never make a mistake again for the rest of your life. Because historically, the mass has always been going in the wrong direction. Yeah, of course, you know, it's security. It's a feeling of being part of something. But at the same token, the mass is not necessarily the best place to be to grow as in awareness. Now, when you move to the 3rd level of awareness, that's when you start to aspire. You start to look into, you know what, I want to do something with my life. And that, it brings you to the 4th level, which is your uniqueness. And your uniqueness is when you start tapping into that gift that you've been provided by God, that gift that you've been provided by the universe. And each and every one of us has a gift. And the key in that is you've got to find it. Some people, you know, they want to develop, they're looking, they say, oh no, I'm going to do this. But at one point it's going to come, it's going to be clear. You're going to figure it out and going to say, okay, that's my gift. This is what, and it's effortless. That's what the uniqueness is. And the uniqueness, and this is the part which is going to be the most difficult. In order to develop your uniqueness, you're going to have to be disciplined. And this is where a lot of people are failing. They have the difficulty to be disciplined and to keep themselves into doing what they need to do, to be consistent in doing it. And when you're disciplined, the 6th level of awareness is already made for you, which is experience, right? You continue expanding your awareness, and then the experience is going to come. And when the experience is coming, after years and years of working in the same thing and loving what you're doing because you aspire and you embrace your uniqueness, then you're going to become a master. And that is the 7th level of awareness. And the problem is right here. Every time you try to break from the mass, your paradigm, which I talked about earlier, is going to try to bring you back to the mass. And when it happened, this is where that you need to be disciplined in order to not let that happen. Okay? So this is your 7. You want to be a master in every realm of life. It's been said that in order to become a master at anything, you've got to repeat the same thing 10,000 times, which is about 10 years. So, but that doesn't mean you have to stop, right? Just, you got to start somewhere. You know that you do 10,000 miles by doing a first step. So start now. Don't wait. And that's what Bob Proctor has been doing for 55 years. 55 years. Do you think he's a master in his field? And if you would hear Bob, I love, every time I hear Bob, like, I'm having a smile because there's this feeling of security, which, like, you would probably like say, like, security. I don't want you to be secure, because like he's doing things in a certain way, and I'm really, really comfortable every time I hear him. So that's the beauty about Bob Proctor. Now let's look into the 3 main income strategy, right? So M1, M2, and M3, we don't need a master's degree to figure that out. So M1, this is where 96% of the population is at, which is you're trading your time for money. That's where like you're working an hour and they give you money for that hour. If you're doing this, you will never reach your dream. And you know why? Because you have a ceiling. You cannot pass over that ceiling. You're going to be stuck there, right? And two is when 3% of the population goes there. It's when you're trading money for money. Now that is when you invest in stock market. You can do that. You can start a business. The challenge with this one is when people are going into the M2 strategy, they don't know what they're doing, and then they are making mistakes, losing all their money, and then after, like, they blaming the world. Oh, this is bad, all this. If you want to do M2, which is a good strategy, make sure you're getting advice from people that have been proven that they know what they're talking about, all right? M1, 1% of the population is utilizing the M1, and they earn 96% of all the money which is earned on this planet. Now think about it. If you look at this and say, no, Mark, you're making a mistake. I can't be. That is exactly what it is. 1% of the population earns 96% of all the money which is earned. And what they're doing is they're trading they leverage their time. They're multiplying their time with MSI. They are leveraging their time through the time of others. So if you're working for someone, you are working for that 1%, because that person, what he does is he's multiplying his time through your time, right? So we're going to show you how to turn your annual income into a monthly income. And that is by far the best thing, right? So I'm going to repeat that. We're going to show you how to multiply your time and take your annual income and turn it into a monthly income. And that is a beautiful place to be, all right? And you're going to do this by having multiple sources of income. And that can be accomplished that way. And this is the way that all wealthy people have always done it, through time, through all history. Because our world is changing now. Our world is not big anymore. It is very small. I can make a phone call right now in Australia, and that's Thursday morning. And actually, it's Australia right now. Yeah, it would be 11:53 in the morning. And that is the beauty about that, is you can do anything in the whole world. And your result is going to come from any and multiple places in the world by setting up multiple sources of income. And you can have them like all over the world. And the beauty about it is the one that you have in Australia might earn you a lot of money, while the one in Europe doesn't earn you a penny. But what you're learning about the one in Europe is how not to do it. That is the same way Emerson works. No, it took him 10,000 times in order to invent the incandescent light. But it didn't stop there. He continued, he tried something new, right? So when something is not working, it gives you feedback, gives you data in order to correct the course and create something that is working. And the beauty is your bank is going to accept any currency no matter where it's coming from. Your bank's not going to say, oh, you know what, I don't like the euro, or I don't like the Swiss franc. No, it doesn't smell good. Your bank doesn't care. It's just like, bring the money here. I'm going to charge you a fee, an international transfer fee. But you're gonna be able to take any currency in your bank account. And when riches start to come to you, they're gonna come so fast and so fierce that you'll be wondering why they've been hiding And where they've been hiding during all those many years. It's absolutely beautiful, right? Just do once what other people say you can do, and you will never pay attention to their limitation again. This one I love very much. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It cannot be any other way. And listen to this. This is not philosophy. This is physics. Do we agree that Albert Einstein was probably the most renowned, the most popular, the most known physicist? He was. And he says that this is not philosophy, it's physics. Energy, frequency is physics. It's not hocus pocus. The mass of energy that you are, it's about physics, right? And we can prove that. There's a mass of energy surrounding you. And actually, we can photograph this. Samuel Curlin perfected this technique, which is called Curlin photography. This is a picture of a human being, and that's his aura. Which you say aura, and then people are just like, whoa, this is really real. And I invite you to look into it and see what's the difference in there. But it's all about the mind. You need to understand how your marvelous mind works. And when you understand how your marvelous mind works, you'll be able to make the change that you're looking for in your life. So let's look a little bit at the mind and at your paradigm. Dr. Ryan from Duke University have been doing like so much study in, I think it's in the 60s, like that's where we have got to go back. And he said the mind is the greatest power of all creation. And if you think about it, let's say if I talk to you about your dog, right? You're going to have a picture of your dog that's coming to your mind right away. If I say, how does your car look like? A picture of your car is going to come. You're going to be able to tell me the color. You're going to be able to tell me how many doors there is, what's the color of the interior, if it's big or small. If I ask you about your refrigerator, same thing. Now you can tell me how many doors there is, if the doors are top to bottom or side, if they're opening left to right, right to left. And actually you will probably go into your kitchen in order to see that picture. But if I ask you, how does your mind look like? You're probably going to have a blank. You're probably going to say, well, actually, I never thought about that. How does my mind look like? And if you go to Google and you type mind and you go to images, they're going to show you a picture of the brain. Your brain is not your mind. As much as your mind is in your fingernail. Mine is movement. And there's a doctor in San Antonio, Texas that understood that in 1934, Dr. Thurman Fleet. He says, we have a problem in the healing art. We're treating symptoms. And until the time we don't treat the full person, we'll never have permanent change and permanent health. Because he stated that mind is not an activity, is not a thing. Right? Mind is an activity. It is not a thing. Mind is movement. And your body is the representation of that movement. But in order to gain a clarity, we need to have a picture of the mind, because you and I think in pictures. When I say your car, a picture of the car came. When I said your refrigerator, a picture of the refrigerator came. When I said your dog, a picture of the dog came. But when I said the mind, no picture. Because you and I think in picture. And if you don't have cells of recognition with pictures of something, you cannot understand it. And that's what Dr. Thurman Fleet came. But the problem here is that picture exists since 1934. And for most part, you're going to be one of many, which is going to be the first time they see that picture. That is your mind. Look at it. It might feel weird. You might think, whoa, that is just silly. That is just a child drawing. Might be, but because you live on 3 different planes of understanding, this picture is going to become the most important picture you're going to see in your life. So we're going to put a line in the middle, and then we're going to put the conscious mind on the top and the subconscious mind at the bottom of that big circle, which represents your mind. The small circle is going to represent your body. So I want you to think about your head as the mind and everything from the neck down as the body. That's not the way it is. Mind is movement, and the body is the representation of that movement, but we need to have a picture to operate. And this picture is the most powerful and the most valuable concept you will ever learn in your life. That's what Bob Proctor said. I'm saying the same thing. And you're gonna, if you embrace this and if you are studying this, you're gonna think exactly the same thing. Because school gave us valuable knowledge. They gave us great knowledge, but it was not effective. Why? Because they never taught us how paradigm works and how to change paradigm. And if you don't understand how to change paradigm, you're not going to apply what you know. That's crazy when you think about it. You know so much, and the older you get, more knowledge you're getting, less result you're getting. And then you're just like, well, I know all this. Why am I not successful? And it caused a lot of frustration in people. Because we haven't been taught effective education. Meaning, they haven't been shown how the paradigm moves you into action and creates the results. And this is what Dr. Turner and Fried have been creating with this picture of the mind. Because in school, we pile up the books there. We pile up the books in the conscious mind. But how does result come? Results are coming from the paradigm. They move you into action. So they haven't been taught through effective education where the paradigms are. How are you going to change anything? And how are you going to get the result you want? You have all the knowledge. And more knowledge you have, less result you're getting. You're just like, whoa, that doesn't make sense. I should be really, really good. But that's not the way it works. So if you want to change the result, what do you need to change? Yes, exactly. The paradigm. You need to put new paradigm in your life, then you'll be able to change the result in your life. So let's play the mind game. You see that little ball there going and it's just changing colors and you're just like, whoa, what's happening here? Let's play the mind game. And you need to know that there is a mind and the body, and the body is going to do exactly what the mind tells it to do. It will always follow the body. So on the top circle, as I mentioned, there's the conscious mind. The bottom circle is the subconscious mind. And of course, the small circle is the body. Where's the results coming from? They're coming to and through the body, right? Now, you remember earlier, this is where we want to go. We want to go over there. That is where the goal is, right? That's where our dreams are sitting. But where is the problem? Nah? Right here. That's what we were talking about earlier. The problem is with the result. So, how do I go from where I am to where I want to go? And this is where the problem is there's a gap there. There's a gap between what you know, which would bring you to your dream, and what you're doing, which this is the current result you have. And that gap is where the mind game is. And we call this at Proctor Gallagher the knowing doing gap. That's what the mind game is all about. And if you don't understand how your mind works, if you don't understand the beauty of your mind, the power of your mind, you will never be able to live the good life. So, what I want you to do, because in order to live the good life, you have to live by law, not by luck. So I want to talk about the 7 laws of the universe that we're utilizing. And those laws work for everybody, everywhere, every time. If you don't understand those laws, you're going to live by luck. That means that you're going to have results. They're not going to stick though. They're going to come and go. And you're not going to be able to reproduce them and create the life that you really would like to have. So let's look at those laws. First, the law of perpetual transmutation, which state that energy always moves into form. So a thought, which is the most potent form of energy, will move into form. It has to, it's just law. The problem is you thinking about something and then you canceling it right away. So you don't allow that thought to transform and to move into form. The second law is the law of relativity, which states that everything just is. It's neither positive or negative. It's your thought that decides if you want to make it positive or negative, right? The law of vibration. Everything vibrates, nothing rests. We literally live in an ocean of motion. Your body is a structure, a molecular structure that is always moving. The computer that you're watching this right now is a molecular structure that, like, there's this cells, this vibration that is moving. A glass that was sand, which have been transformed into a new form, but it's vibration. Everything is vibration. The law of polarity. Everything has an opposite. Up, down, hot, cold, yin, yang, positive, negative, in, out. Everything has an opposite. The law of polarity states that if something is positive, there must be a negative and vice versa, right? The law of rhythm, like this one is probably one of the toughest ones, because sometimes, you know, you're floating, you're surfing, you're on top of that waves. I mean, it's just like that, and then you're surfing, and then all of a sudden the wave is just disappeared, right? And that's part of the law of rhythm. You're gonna have ups and downs, but when you understand this law, you don't let things affect you that much. You understand, okay, the law of rhythm is at work, so this is why I'm like, I don't have that momentum, you know, but it's gonna come back. When you know about it, then you don't make a big deal out of it, because you know that the momentum is gonna come back. That doesn't mean that you have to stop doing work and you have to stop doing your actions. But sometimes it's just the time to take a step back and observe instead of trying to force things, right? The law of cause and effect. The law of cause and effect is stated by Emerson that this is the law of laws. You know, everything has an action. Every cause every effect is cause, and every cause has an effect, right? It's action, reaction, or action, attraction. And the last one is the law of gender. The law of gender states that everything has a gestation or incubation period, meaning that if you plant a seed, you have to let it germ, you have to let it come into fruition. Some people are giving up right when they're at the edge to succeed. And what they did is they just didn't finish the job. So you have to learn to be patient, that things has to be put into motion. Those laws are so important. You've got to live by those laws. Because if you don't understand them, you're going to live by luck. Sometimes you're going to get results. Sometimes you're not. And then you're not going to be able to reproduce the thing the way that you would like to have it. To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm. Willing and able. I love those two. And that's part of our program. We always ask this, and I always ask this to everybody. Are you willing or are you able? Able is very easy. You have 11 million kilowatt hour per pound of potential energy in your body. 11 million kilowatt hour per pound. Think about it. Think how powerful you are as a human being. You can light up an entire building with your little finger for almost a week. And then you say, I'm tired. What you should say is, I don't have any desire. The true question is, are you willing? Are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to do whatever needs to be done in order to get where you want to go? That is the true question. I love this sentence from Steve Jobs, which was an absolute nutcase, but was a great inventor. He said, for 33 years, I've looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if this is the last day of my life, am I happy with what I'm about to do today? Would I want to do what I'm about to do today? And if the answer was no too many times in a row, I know I needed to change something. That's a great advice. Buckminster Fuller says something a little similar. Never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. That is so beautiful. So this is what happened to Bob Proctor. In 1960, a man called Ray Stanford was coming to the firehouse where Bob was working and said, Bob, you know, man, you're the most miserable man I've met in my life. You know, you're always sick, you're always broke, you're always miserable. And then he wrote a big heart there. And he said, do I look healthy to you? And said, yeah, you look pretty healthy, you know. Do I look happy to you? Yeah, I mean, every time you come in, you're smiling, you talk to me and all this. I said, do I look wealthy to you? Yeah, I mean, you always have like this big pile of cash in your pocket, and it's just, this didn't just happen. You know, I created that. I created those results. And at the time, Bob was earning $4,000. He was owing $6,000. His entire life was built upon, how can I get those creditors off my back? And because his thinking was wrong, he couldn't get the result he wanted. So Ray Stanford told him, he says, okay, take this book, read it every day, and you will change your life. I promise you that. Bob didn't believe that. He didn't believe any of what Ray was saying, but he believed in what Ray was saying. So he said what Ray was saying. So he set up a goal of earning $25,000. In less than a year, was earning $175,000. 3 years later, was earning $1 million a year. If I tell you right now that in 3 years from now, you can earn more than $1 million a year, what would you be willing to do right now? What would you do right now to change that life? If I tell you you're going to earn $1 million in 3 years from now. Because that's what thinking into results is all about. It's about changing your paradigm. It is a paradigm buster. And you have to be willing to do something for yourself, because you're only limited by weakness in attention and poverty of imagination. That is the only two things that stop you going after what you want in your life. So what are you waiting for? You gotta make a decision. And that decision will start by contacting me. Make the decision, I'm gonna contact this guy, I'm gonna talk to him, and I wanna change my life. Because if you don't, what will be the worst case scenario that can happen in 3 years from now? Worst case scenario, you're at the same place that where you are. And if that's the case, you're going backward because the world is going forward. In 3 years from now, with what's happening now, it's crazy, the evolution of what we experience. So take the decision, take action, contact me, get in touch with me, and let's start changing your life.